poppin'? Real ones, Friday vibes. Logan Murdock here, Howard back there, Isaiah on the boards, Victoria on the video. No Raja today. How do you feel about that? I mean, he had such the crazy performance last episode, Howard, and was it fine worthy? You think that like this is just like a, how are we supposed to think about this absence from Raja? Should we look into it? How do we feel?
I mean, it's late March. Everyone's load managing. Raja's a vet. He's no different. I think he earned it. He brought it on Tuesday. He earned it. He earned the 3-day weekend. It's fine.
It was the performance from Raja on Tuesday was like a soft March 40, right? Throw out 8 assists, got 5 boards, but got like those 5 turnovers that you're like, damn, we still won by 20, duh. But like, he's gonna look at those 5 turnovers like, damn it.
No, he won't. He won't care. He'll be like, it's fine. It's fine. I put up the points. I did what I needed to do.
Did we win the damn game? Okay, shut up. Okay, all right. You know who won at life? The Grosbecks. Wick and his father. Shout out to the Grosbecks. They might be ruin of the week potential right now because they just sold the Boston Celtics for a reported $6.1 billion, but I feel like I've seen some people say that the deal, by the time it's over with, could reach 7.3. Others have said it could reach $6.7 billion. And he sold the team to Bill Chisholm. There's not a lot known about him other than he's from Massachusetts and he grew up a big Celtics fan. I'm sure we'll get the big profile in the coming months about him. Let's get into this though, this sale. There was if you guys want the expert analysis of this, there's a really good conversation on Bill's pod with Chris Mannix about just the ins and outs. But we're going to do the best that we can here. Howard did a really good piece in the Ringer on this sale and just what it means for new ownership and basically giving advice to the new owner in a roundabout way and telling him the pros and cons of what new ownership in the NBA is like. First off, let's go to your article first, which is entitled, "Don't Light the Cigar on the Celtics Sale Just Yet." We could get into that article, but I guess to start off this segment, what is the best case scenario and the worst case scenario, you think, for this new ownership group owning the Boston Celtics? Earmuffs, Isaiah. It's going to be okay, but just, we're just doing a thought exercise here.
First of all, just think about what's happening right now with this sale at all. I have not looked this up, but I'm pretty confident in saying I don't think there's been the sale of a defending champion in the 28 years that I've been covering this league. Teams don't get sold that often in the first place. But great teams, teams that are at their peak, I don't think get sold that often. And it has nothing to do with winning and losing, right? Franchises get the ownership turns over when owners are ready to move on for whatever reason. But this is a really unique situation. The Celtics are defending champions. They're selling right now. They are not only defending champions, they have the core of a team that should be contending for several years to come, except that the current CBA makes it really, 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 really hard to keep together a team with a ton of great talent, because talent costs money, and now you start triggering aprons and all this stuff. You start having to pay massive luxury taxes. You start losing the ability to do sign-in trades and acquire guys and all kinds of stuff. So even if the Grosbecks had retained their ownership of the Celtics moving forward, they were going to have a lot of strains based on the fact that they, to their credit, put together a really talented, Brad Stevens and his front office put together a really talented roster. It's hard to keep that together, no matter who you are. All right, so now let's move to the Bill Chisholm piece of this. New owner comes in, gets to inherit the defending champions and all their amazing talent, Tatum and Brown and Derek White, Drew Holiday, all these guys. Now Bill Chisholm and his group have to figure out how much can we pay these guys and for how long? And how much will it hamper us in the future if we're now in the repeater tax and if we're now over the second apron and we're losing future draft picks and we're now unable to make trades? And it's really hard. And the really hard part of this was going to apply no matter who owned them. But I do think, to the extent that this is a new owner coming in with zero track record in the league, zero track record in the public spotlight, really, nobody knew this guy's name until 24 hours ago. And now it's congrats. assuming he gets the approval from the Board of Governors, which may be months away. Congrats. You now own the defending champs. You now own one of the crown jewels of the NBA. You now own one of the most historic franchises in professional sports. Good luck with this payroll that, according to Bobby Marks from ESPN, is going to cost 450 to maybe 500 million next season based on payroll and luxury taxes. And we'll have all these other things triggered too. So that part of it, Logan, is just really difficult no matter who owns it, but especially with a new owner and all the expectations of, hey, guy, we're on the verge of a potential dynasty here, or certainly we'd like to think so. Keep cutting the checks.
I mean, this is the modern NBA, right? And the one part that I do want to note from this sale, and the reason why the defending champions are up for sale, is because Wyc Grousbeck's father, Irv, is getting a little long in the tooth, 90 years old, trying to get his affairs in order, and wants his will, or whatever you want to call it, to be liquidated and have his cash flow popping. And now, so it was timing on that. It was a great set of circumstances that made this actually happen. And that tends that can occasionally happen at points in times, but that's the reason why a defending champion, seemingly at the peak of their value at this point. I mean, all these values go higher and higher every year, but that's the big reason, why this is happening. So a point of, and I want to get your opinion on this. We talked about Mark Cuban. We've talked about Mark Cuban a lot post Mav sale, and seems like Wyc has gotten a similar deal, although he has his in writing that he will be a team governor for the next 3 years, and still have some say in basketball decision making. That sounds good right now when you sign the paperwork, but do you believe that this is going to be a new fruitful situation for Wyc, or is this going to be Mark Cuban 2, 3, 4.0 at this point? What do you think on that?
So the distinction here is that Cuban sold, controlling interest and told everybody, I'm still going to run basketball operations. But as far as I can tell, and as far as anybody in the league knows that I've spoken to, there was never anything in writing that made this an official part of the transaction. In this case, the statement that was, I think it was kind of a joint statement, right, by Bill Chisholm and Wyc Grousbeck yesterday. It's clear from both parties that this is their intent. So they're already one step ahead of the game compared to where the Mark Cuban situation was with the Adelson family. So let's take it as a given, Logan, for discussion purposes, that this is ironclad. It's in the deal. Grousbeck will own less than 50%, but he'll still be the governor and CEO. He'll be running the show for the next 3 seasons through 27-28. And then he'll sell the balance, and that's when Chisholm will take over. Let's assume that is official, ironclad in the contract. It's going to happen this way. It's still awkward as hell. You just set the record. Bill Chisholm and his group are setting the record for the highest price ever for any franchise in any professional sport in North America. As you noted, $6.1 billion, but it's really, and I got this myself yesterday too. That's been reported a couple places, but I confirmed this with a couple different sources in the NBA. It's probably closer to $7.3 billion, because what's going to happen is the first payment, or the first, conveyance here of the 51% is at the $6.1 billion valuation, but there's an expectation that the value of the team will continue to increase over the next few years, and therefore the balance payment at that time will have increased as well. And so the expectation is this is going to actually reach, over 7 billion, like 7.3 billion. If you have paid that amount, are you really going to cede all control for 3 seasons? Are you really going to be patient with that?
No.
It's sticky. It's awkward. I'm not saying that this won't work, but I do think it's inherently fraught. I also think, let's go half glass full for a minute here. The optimist view would be Chisholm realizes on day one, and this would be really refreshing, by the way, because no owners ever realize this on day one. If you realize on day one that you don't actually know how the NBA works, and you need to come in with some humility about it and defer to the people who know it best, in this case, not only Wyc Grousbeck, but Brad Stevens and his front office, Mike Zarin, Like, defer to the people who are the real experts. There are too many owners who come in who think they know it all, who are captains of industry in other industries, in private equity or real estate or banking, and they come in and they think, well, I'll just run this the way I run my other businesses. And nope, wrong answer. MBA's different.
And that's the reason why you're on Blue Sky, huh?
To avoid the billionaires. They don't want me around. But there's a humility that's necessary. And if Bill Chisholm is coming into this truly with not just the deal in place where I'm not going to be governor, but also the recognition that there's a reason that actually makes sense. Not just because Groesbeck's not ready to give up control, and this is the arrangement that they made, but if it's also because Chisholm realizes on day one, I might actually have a learning curve here. Like there's a great outcome possible here where he just immerses himself, stays in the background, listens more than speaks, and learns from Groesbeck, learns from Brad Stevens, learns from Mike Zarin. And in 3 years, he's more ready to take the training wheels off as owner and actually be the day-to-day decision maker. Most owners, none of them actually, do it that way. They come in and, yeah, I mean, some may lay back a little bit, but usually they come in guns blazing. We saw, Matt Ishbia. We've now seen with Patrick Dumont and the Adelsons in Dallas. We've seen various versions of this over time. Hell, we saw it with Mark Cuban when he first bought the Mavericks 25 years ago. There's not a lot of humility baked in usually. So if this arrangement where he is not the governor on day one, if that allows him to, immerse himself and learn the ropes and understand the NBA first, like then there's a really great outcome here potentially for the Celtics going forward.
I think a couple things, right? One of the things that's easy is he has like a ready-made contender already, and he has the people in place to keep it going, right? Like you have Brad Stevens as the head in your front office. You have Joe Mazzulla, who has been a great coach. You have the tandem of Tatum and Brown, and you already have that baked in. I think the hardest part really is just going to be how you build a team around Tatum and Brown. Like that's really just going to be based on what we just talked about with the luxury tax. It's a pretty easy job if you don't have your ego involved, right? And I mean, I think the best case scenario, I think honestly, this is the best case scenario. If you're going to spend this much money on a team, you have it ready made. I think the other team that came to mind that did this right in the ownership that came to mind was the Golden State Warriors when Joe Lacob and Peter Guber bought the team. And it was a little different because the team wasn't a champion and coming off of that. But what they did was they put basketball people in position to make basketball moves, right? Like they got Jerry West as an advisor. They did take a chance on Bob Myers as an assistant GM, but they up until around now, like they've been listening to the basketball people. And I think if Chisholm just continues to listen to the basketball people, he'll be fine to sit front row. Let the machine keep on going. Like there's nothing really that you have to change right here unless you have an ego in it, But right now, y'all can win another title and continue to win another title. Y'all might go make a three-peat. We'll see what happens, but this seems like easier than most potential owners going into a situation like this.
I think you're right, Logan, on some level, right? Like you inherit a winner, you don't have the pressure. Like Ishbia, the second he takes over the Suns, is like, I've got Booker, but we need to do something else. Chris Paul's getting old. I need to make a splash. Let's trade everything we've got to get Kevin Durant, before the ink's even dry on the contract to buy the team, right? So desperation with a team that's not a contender can lead to some really bad outcomes, which is what we've seen in Phoenix, right? Just desperation plays, over-eager, over-aggressive, and Chisholm won't have that in Boston because, as you note, he gets to take over a winner. But there's a different pressure that comes with that because now it's don't fuck it up. Like do what you got to do to keep this team together. And oh, by the way, if the system that the NBA has created is making it impossible to keep Brown and Tatum and Drew and White and Porzingis and Peyton Pritchard or whoever, then, find a way to empower your front office to replace those guys at a similar talent, but cheaper and younger, whatever it may be. Just don't screw it up. But as I said before, like part of this, like the baked in challenge for the Celtics, no matter who owns it, is the system is what it is now. It's really hard to keep a team together. And if a team is that talented, then it's going to be that expensive. And it's that expensive. Now you're crossing second apron and you're, getting into all this other, these other difficulties. So, on the one hand, it's an easy one to be a new owner of the Celtics. On the other hand, like there is no greater pressure unless you're the new owner of, like if the Lakers were sold tomorrow, same kind of thing. It's like, even though the Lakers aren't, defending champs right now, and we can argue about whether or not they're contenders right now, those are the two franchises where the fan base expects nothing but championships, and nothing below that is even satisfactory.
You brought up the Lakers. I'm sure they're really, really excited with this news right now, and including every other team that it's crazy to think. What was it? Not even a little over 10 years ago that Ballmer bought into the NBA for $2 billion, and now we were like, damn, that's a lot of money.
And people thought it was an overpay, Logan.
People thought that was an overpay. Now, it was a little bit of a bargain, right? Like even about the Warriors in 2010, they bought that for like $450 million, and that was a lot of money, right?
We missed our window, man. We missed our window to buy a team. When it was only in the hundreds of millions, we could have pulled it off. But now that it's over, 2, 3, 5, 6 billion, I think we're shut out, Logan.
I didn't have a lot of money then. You did. You do. I could have got a little percentage. You know what I'm saying? Like, me, you, and Roger would have got it. He would have had controlling stake. Now look at us. What does this mean for expansion, Howard Beck?
The league is thrilled. So let's be really clear. The fact that the Celtics are going for somewhere between 6.1 and 7.3 billion, and without control of their arena, by the way, there's no attachment. Like we were talking about Ishbia, like there's an arena, there is a practice facility that they were just building, and also a W team. There's none of that in Boston. Yeah.
Now they could try to go get an arena. Obviously, the arena in Boston is owned by the Bruins, the owners of the Boston Bruins. So the Celtics, in theory, like you spend $7 billion on a team, you might want to get your own arena at some point. Right?
Yeah,
I think that might be something.
But
that might be the next thing.
Lakers, same situation, right? Don't own their arena; they're renters. But if you're Jeannie Buss and her siblings, and you're looking at the Celtics, the other marquee franchise of the league, selling for $6 billion, $7 billion, whatever it ultimately ends up being, you're thinking, well. And they didn't have the arena, and the Lakers don't either. But you can now bank on the idea that our franchise is worth at least that much as well.
I would say like 10. Right?
I mean, we're gonna be there. Like 10 billion's on the horizon. That's in play.
Like that might be the next sale, right? Like that might whenever. I don't know.
It'll be one of the bigger markets. The one thing that was interesting that somebody pointed out to me yesterday was if you look at all the recent sales, the really high prices are still in the bigger markets. The smaller market teams, the valuations are not in the 5, 6, 7 billion range. They're more like, the 1.5, 2 billion range. So there is a little bit of a difference there. But if they are going to just keep going up here, not so far in the distant future, someone's going for 10 billion. And like the Lakers and Knicks are the two that you look at immediately. Like if those two franchises, either of them ever sells, given the size of their markets and the historic nature of those teams. And in the Garden's case, of course, they do own their arena as well as the local sports network, the MSG network. So that one's going to go for even higher anyway. But the league is thrilled because
don't the Lakers do? I don't know don't they own their rights, their TV? They have like a great. Maybe they just have a great TV deal, but they don't own the network though.
Yeah, they don't own the network. The Garden actually owns their network. But the league is thrilled because for expansion purposes, and everybody should go back and look, last month we had expansion week at the Ringer, and we've got all kinds of stories about the possibilities of expansion. I don't think that's imminent, Logan. But one of the things that was slowing up any expansion discussions at the league level and any formal, because they haven't even formally started expansion. Like expansion is literally not in progress, despite how often we've all talked about it. But they needed to have the Celtics sell first because they were really hoping to get something in this range, 6 billion plus. That now sets the bar. So if the league is expanding in the next 3, 4, 5 years, the asking price now. It's minimum 6 billion for Vegas or Seattle or whoever.
Fake dead.
So that's the price now. We know what the asking price is. Minimum $6 billion for those two new franchises. So the league is thrilled at this outcome. And for expansion purposes, yes, this now makes it that much more attractive for the league on a financial level.
Yeah, it's fascinating. There's a lot of questions that I can ask, but we just don't have them yet, right? Like, how is this guy just going to be like how the previous ownership group goes and say, fuck it, we're just going to pay all the luxury taxes. We want to win. Like, we want to win in this window now. Or is it going to be a strip down? Like, we don't have answers to those questions. Like, of how we don't even know this guy.
No. And it's really interesting too, Logan, because you think about it. You mentioned the Warriors, which I think was a really smart point about how Lacob and Goober approached this, that they did approach. I don't know if the humility is still there for championships later.
I'm going to say this. I don't think it was ever there necessarily, but I do think that back then there was at least an acknowledgement of like, we don't know what we're doing necessarily. We're new. Yeah. We need to figure this out.
Yeah. But yeah, I mean, Lacob is the guy who coined the light years ahead phrase that they have been paying for and mocked for ever since. But shit, man, they won 4 championships. You can say whatever the hell you want at a certain point. I think he'd only won 1 championship at the time he said that, but anyway. Yeah, you should have some humility about the league when you first come in, but it doesn't always work that way. And I think what's interesting is, like, I can make the case, Logan, that the best thing an owner can do is listen to your basketball experts, defer to them, cut the checks, and get out of the way. On the other hand, the counterpoint to that would be Patrick Dumont, the Dallas Mavericks CEO or governor, because don't just get out of the way. If your GM comes to you and says, hey, I think I want to trade one of the 3 best players on the planet for a guy who's 6 years older, injured all the time. And
say less.
Yeah.
Cool.
So on the one hand, I would argue that owners should not meddle in basketball affairs that they don't know very little about. They should not trample their front office. They should defer to their experts. But if your expert comes to you and wants to do something absolutely batshit crazy, that's when you probably, as the owner, should say, no, I'm in charge here. Let's not go there.
But Howard, I got some counterpoints to that one, though. Like, I do believe that everything that Chisholm has said, he's doing this because he loves his team, right? Like, he definitely, like,
everybody does. They all say
no. But the Adelson family and Patrick Dumont literally did it from the very beginning to be a land buy. Like, this was not about This was not about like building a team or anything. No, it was like trying to build a casino in Dallas,
and with no NBA history, right? Like,
right.
Chisholm, at least the way he's portrayed himself, is I grew up, outside of Boston. I'm a Celtics diehard from childhood, blah, blah, blah. And yeah, you're right. You're very right to make that point.
Listen to Johnny Most, all the Celtics propaganda, all of that. But like, you didn't have that necessarily in Dallas, right? It was a complete land buy. So I do think that's why I was hesitant to compare the two sales, right? Like, in theory, it could happen, but I didn't want to compare the sales of the Mavs to this one just for that reason only.
It's more just the fact that you don't know what an owner's going to do until they start actually having to make decisions, right? Like, what their personality and their approach and their philosophy is going to be. The Adelsons could have come in without any NBA experience, as they don't have, and purely for casino purposes and land purposes, and they still could have ended up being good owners. It's possible. They haven't, but they could have.
I could not imagine just being like known for one thing, and that one thing being like forever, known for one thing forever. And I got a long life to live, so that might happen. But like, no matter what you do, you are known as the people that trade away Luka Doncic, right? Like, no matter what happens. Oof. Always goes back to the disappointment of Dallas. But let's table this discussion for now. I'm sure we'll be talking about this in the coming months. But Boston Celtics, new ownership group. Let's take a quick break and do a vibes check for the Cleveland Cavaliers. This season, FanDuel is giving you the power to take control of your bets. Introducing the Bet Back Token, the ultimate game changer that lets you bail on any bet that's not going your way by turning into bonus bets. It's simple. If one of your bets is not heading in the right direction during the game, go to your My Bet section, tap the token, and get your stake back immediately in bonus bets, just like that. And right now, for the tourney, we're giving all customers a Bet Back Token. So when the 2 seed starts playing like the 16 seed, or the favorite turns out to be not so favorable, you can get your bet back in bonus bets. Just head over to FanDuel.com/RingerNBA to grab your bet back token today. Only on America's #1 sportsbook. Must be 21 years and older and present in select states, or 18 and older and present in D.C. Opt-in required. Refund issued as non-withdrawable bonus bets that expire 7 days after receipt. Max refund $5 unless otherwise specified. Restrictions apply, including token expiration. See terms at sportsbook.fanduel.com. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER or visit rg-help.com. And we are back. Howard, the Cavs are making Isaiah giddy right now. They're having a shitty West Coast stand. I just know that they lost to the Kings last night. And whenever you're losing to the Kings, that is not a recipe for success. They are now 56-13. They have lost to the Clippers, Kings, and Magic in consecutive games. And they have the Phoenix Suns tonight. If they lose to the Phoenix Suns, this is also coming on the heels of them, winning 16 straight. But I think that this goes back to our conversation. I believe it was with you or Raja or both, talking about peaking too early or peaking at the right time. For you, when you see this, is this a curious case of the marches, or is this just like we should be concerned about this team right now and where they're headed? Donovan Mitchell said that he's crazy and that this kind of puts a smile on his face because they face adversity. And I'm like, okay, but how do you feel when you see what's going on with this team right now?
You'll be shocked to hear this, but I have a personal experience reference point that involves the Los Angeles Lakers.
Word?
With Phil Jackson.
Did you cover the Los Angeles Lakers once upon a time or something?
You know what's really funny? There was, when I was first covering the Lakers, and the guys who covered them in the 80s would occasionally come through, and they were no longer the beat writers. Now they were like columnists or feature writers, and they would start rhapsodizing about the Showtime days. And I'd be like, here we go, another Showtime story. And here I am all these years later. I'm this stupid old guy rambling on about back in the day.
Yeah, that's like when Marcus Thompson just waxes poetic on We Believe. There's nothing else before that, but like it's just like, yeah, man, you know what I'm saying, man, we never know about We Believe, man. We was outside.
That's your Marcus Thompson impression.
Yeah, that's the spot on Marcus Thompson impression too, by the way.
We're going to bring on Marcus for a rebuttal. That was
brutal. You know what I'm saying, man.
Oh my God.
Really Stokely, man. You know?
On behalf of the real ones, Marcus, I apologize for my part.
Liam.
All right, enough.
Okay.
No, so the Lakers in 99-2000, first year under Phil Jackson, they won 67 games. Guess how many double-digit winning streaks they had, Logan? 3. Guess
Wait. Well, you didn't let me do it. What was the question? Because I didn't fully get it. I know it was 3, but what was the question?
Like, just how many double-digit winning streaks they had?
Which year was this?
99-2000.
Okay, let me guess.
First championship year.
They had. Let me see. They had because they had 18 won. Once that was the record. It was a record for them, I think, at the time, or it was like the second best to 33. Then I think they had 2 16 wins.
I think one of them actually ended at 10. I think one of them, like, they just got there. I'll look it up while we're talking. But the thing I remember about that season, other than like how incredible it was that they could put together multiple double-digit win streaks in the same season. So they had, like I say, they had 3. So it goes 16 early in the season that stretched into January, and then a 19, that's the one you were talking about, that ended in mid-March. And then they had an 11 game. I was off by 1 that ended in early April. Did
they lose to the Wizards after that 19 one? Did they lose that? Was that the one where they ended it?
Yeah, good call.
You see me?
Look at that. Lost to the Wizards 109-102 on March 16th, 2000, and then immediately won 11 after that. So they ended up going like 30 out of 31. Like that shit's just crazy. And one of the things I remember about it, and the reason I bring it up, other than to just be old man rhapsodizing about the good old days, is that there's a certain like monotony to it at a certain point for the players, for the fans, for everybody. Like, it's awesome winning that much. Like, there's no downside to winning. But it takes a lot out of you, for one. And then the streak, and remember when the Heat had that huge streak during the LeBron and Wade era, it was the same kind of thing where it's like there's a certain pressure now. You feel like you've got to keep extending it. So instead of the natural like letdowns you sometimes have in the course of a season where you win 5, you lose 2, you win 7, you lose 1. Instead, you're kind of like putting everything in every night. The other thing that I always remember is that Phil Jackson was always thrilled when the Lakers lost, because it was like, these guys think they know everything now. They're not listening to anything anymore. I need them to lose so I can like say, see, dumbasses, you don't know everything. We're going to work on this today.
Quick question. What's your Phil Jackson impression?
Not as brutal as your Marcus Thompson III impression.
Mine was accurate though. So
Phil is just the gravelly thing. When we were doing Phil Jackson impressions, and by we, I mean like every single one of us who covered the Lakers, we'd be sitting there in the press room just like doing the, all right, guys, what do you got? Why am I talking to you again? What can you guys possibly ask me now that you didn't already ask me 3 times in the last 24 hours? Because Phil would get annoyed when it was like, especially like playoffs, it's like we talk pregame, we talk postgame, and there's a practice the next day. Nothing has changed. And
would Phil do the whistle, but like whistle to get you guys to come over?
that whistle's incredible. I never could do that. That always pissed me off. People who could do the 2 pinky thing under the tongue or whatever. No, he did not whistle at us. That was usually just for the players. Phil had a hat that he busted out one of those years. It just said, I think it was like a brand of some sort, but it just was a baseball cap that said blah, blah, blah on it, which was perfect because that was like his like not so subtle message toward us, I think, when we're gathering around post practice and it is just a blah, blah, blah session. Like, here we go. We're going to just like throw all these mundane questions at you again.
Oh, whatever, Phil, because Phil used y'all so much. He used the media so much to his advantage and then want to say, oh, well, I got to talk to y'all, even though he was going to use y'all to fucking shit on a player on his roster to get him to motivate him. We know the vibes, Phil.
Phil was good at all that, but also like he was really great with the media. Like for whatever anybody might say about him, like and yeah, some of that manipulation and the message sending, like all that's in there. It's all baked in. And there were times where it's also a little bit of like Phil doing the passive aggressive, like, oh, why do I have to talk to you guys? But he enjoyed it. Like he absolutely had fun with it, and he gave us plenty of great material over the 5 years I covered him. So, but he liked when they lost.
You hear that, Steve? You got a lot to live up to, my dog.
What's the name?
You hear that? I'm shooting. I'm the bow.
Steve was only one of the best interviews in the NBA. You're out of pocket, Logan. No, but like when a team wins too much, if there's such a thing, you can lose track of the fundamentals. Sometimes when if you're just more talented than everybody, and certainly like Shaq and Kobe, that was a thing, right? They were just so much more talented than everybody else that they could give a B effort and still beat a lot of teams. The Cavs aren't at that level, but they're really, really good. And I think there are probably, if we gave Kenny Atkinson truth serum, I wonder if Kenny would tell us like, yeah, good to lose a few so that I can, work on some of the fundamentals that maybe had slipped along the way that we were getting away with. And like, that's a real thing. It happens. And my guess is this is not some, moment to panic for the Cavs. This is just it's late in the season. It's hard to sustain that night in, night out. When it was, when it becomes an actual modest losing streak, maybe it's a little more concerning, but the Cavs are still going into the playoffs, as long as they're healthy, as the biggest threat to the Celtics in the East. Those are the 2 teams we're all still focused on. I don't think anything's changed.
Man, me, you, and Isaiah were looking at the Eastern Conference standings pre-pod. Yuck. They'll be fine. The Cavaliers will be fine. It's going to be okay. All right. It's a slow news week. Jesus. I
mean, the Knicks are dragging. The Pacers have revived themselves, which is interesting. The Bucks are kind of all over the map. The Pistons are at least, they've got everybody's attention. But yeah,
but the Cavs will be playing. The Cavs will be playing like one of the Hawks, Magic, Bulls, and Heat. Like, ugh. I mean, if they do have to play the Magic, we were discussing this pre-pod. The Magic aren't necessarily like a good team, but you are going to feel them. Like it's going to be It's going to be tough. Like you're going to win the series, but you're going to, like I said, it's like when I play you in one-on-one. I'm gonna win, but like I'm gonna be hurting afterwards. So
as much as I have supported the play-in, and I think it's on balance been a great addition, Man, the way the East shakes out year after year just makes me feel like why are we even bothering?
Can we just do the plan for the Western Conference? Can we just legislate that until that sucks, and then we can legislate that one out? Or I don't know.
Remember we used to talk all the time about, we should just do the 1 through 16 without respect to conference kind of thing. Like, let's at least do that for the play-in. Like, if there are Eastern Conference teams that aren't even that are 10 games below, 11 games below 500, the Miami Heat, and they're going to be a play-in team, can't we just sub them out for like the Trailblazers or something, who are only 8 games below 500?
Yeah, that would be lit. Let me see what else.
This is a bad year for the play-in. I mean, for the East specifically, I don't need to see any of those teams. I don't need the Hawks, Magic,
Bulls,
Western
Conference though. I'm cool with the Western Conference.
The West is fine through 8 for sure. Clippers and Timberwolves deserve to be in play. The Kings,
Suns,
the Kings, the Suns, the Maverick. These are teams that just need to go away, Logan. Like, enough. You're I don't know where you guys are headed, but like, let us know in July. I don't need more of them in April.
Oh no. Okay, let's talk quickly though. Before we get you out of here. Let's talk about sitting out once again. We talked about it a little bit. We pump faked a little bit about Jokic. And by the way, guys, only reason why I know this is because Howard brought it to my attention. But if y'all don't fucking relax, all the real ones out there, just relax, okay? We just were sad that fucking Jokic just didn't play. It's just, that's all it was.
We didn't criticize him. We didn't criticize the Nuggets. We didn't rip anybody. We didn't say anybody was dogging it. We didn't say anybody was bailing. We just said it was a bummer that we didn't see him. Like, the
real ones are serious, and you're finally figuring that out, Howard. Howard, also, please stop sending me tweets about what people are saying or skies or whatever the fuck. I don't care. They're just going to argue with themselves.
You lead a much healthier life. You lead a much more mentally healthy life than I do, because you stay away from this stuff and I sit there and read it.
I'm over here like trying to do. It was Thursday. I'm like, yo, I'm calling Howard. Yeah, yo, what you want to talk about? He's like, these motherfuckers are good. It's all interesting. And I'm like, I don't care, bro. Like, you can turn that shit off.
And yet you just brought it up.
Well, because the only reason why I know about it is because of you.
That's my bad.
Jeez. All the real ones, relax.
Completely on me.
Shout out to all the real ones worldwide.
By the way, we appreciate you all listening. And even if I disagree with some of your critiques at times, I appreciate you all listening and engaging. It's great. It's awesome.
Just relax. Everybody just relax.
Just chill.
Relax.
It's not that serious. It's just sports.
Anyways, I just, sniffed out 2 minutes of our pod. But anyways, Luka sat out last night against the Bucks. Another national television game, right? Yep. And then the game before that, Nikola Jokic sat out against the Lakers. My gears are grinding because I hate this. This is like, what are we doing? What are we doing? What are we doing?
Tom Haberstroh, our buddy over at Yahoo and other places, hashtagged this March Sadness, which I like. That was good. Like, the NBA does have a March problem, and it's at both ends of the standings spectrum, right? Because you've got losing teams that are pulling the plug because they want to play the young guys and lose games and enhance their lottery odds. And you've got winning teams that are, hey, Luka's banged up, Jokic is banged up, Jamal Murray's banged up. I'm missing some. Did Shea take a game off this week? Like you're strategically resting because, hey, everybody's banged up at this point in the season. Like, ask any NBA player. This is one of the standard cliches, right? Like, everyone's banged up at this point in the season. It's all legit. And you're trying to get ready for the playoffs. Again, legit, but sucks for fans, sucks for the product at times, sucks for your national TV partners when they're skipping those games, and especially if it's a marquee game like Nuggets Warriors, as we discussed earlier in the week. And it's a bad look, and it makes for discussions like this. And then people hand-wring about the state of the NBA. I will say this, and I don't have the numbers in front of me, I apologize, but I was chatting with someone at the league office this morning on a different topic, but they noted that, in fact, the player participation policy is still having a net positive effect, that I think there might be a little bit more missed games by stars this season than last season, which was the first year of the new policy. But they're still better off than where they were a couple of years ago. The league feels like that policy is in fact working. The numbers bear it out. The number of games missed by stars is still not as bad as it was a few years back. And to the extent that there's a lot of players missing games, and, Haberstroh tweeted out a list the other day, and it is a staggering list, but the list included guys who were legitimately hurt. Kyrie Irving is on there. He's got a torn ACL. Anthony Davis is on there, and he's obviously been out for weeks with a real injury. Some of this is just happenstance. There's injuries. It's the resting part of it that I think makes it frustrating for fans. And then you combine that with the teams at the other end who are tanking, who have pulled the plug, and it makes for a really awkward March product and a March discussion, and it makes for some warped outcomes. I don't know what the answer is. I guarantee you the league is still scrutinizing it themselves because they don't like it either.
Yeah. It's just, I know, it's just more of a frustration thing, right? It is what it is. It's not necessarily I'm pissed about, I know people got injuries and stuff like that. I just don't want to turn on my television and I get you see the thing oh yeah, Jokic's about to play, or Luka's about to play Giannis. And I'm I want to see this. And now I'm, no disrespect to anybody, but that game was a wash. Last night, that Laker game was a wash. I mean, I know you didn't watch it because it's at 1:30 in the morning, and you're not even watching.
I didn't watch it because I was busy trying to write about the Celtics sale until 2 a.m. So,
okay, all right, my bad. I'm sorry, my bad. I apologize. Sorry, guys.
I was working, man.
All right, you were working, man. I know. It's fine. If the NBA don't want to fucking get it right, then I'll just watch Juju for the next 3 weeks, and I'm probably gonna do that anyway. So it's fine. It's fine. You got any picks for the March Madness? Anything like that?
I don't watch college.
I'm in a bracket with Valencia and Sirit for women's college basketball. And you're damn right, I picked USC. Just so everybody knows. And I picked Columbia to upset Duke. Yes, I did that too. So let's go. I hope I win. Go ahead. Whatever you were saying, Howard. Go ahead.
No, I mean, the NBA walks a fine line with these policies, right? You cannot dictate to a team when to play your players. You can tell them don't rest multiple stars on a national game,
or you can investigate the injury and say that wasn't an actual injury.
And they do, and they do. And the reason that they held off on right, the Jokic thing the other night, the league's approach to that was, it's not a problem if he's legitimately hurt, and we'll see where this goes. And he's now missed another game or two. So I think that underscores this wasn't just a rest game for Jokic. It was legitimately needing to heal up from a specific injury or maybe multiple. But the NBA walks a fine line because you cannot manage somebody's rotation from Olympic Tower in Midtown Manhattan. You cannot.
It's kind of like flopping. You know what I mean? It's in the way where it's the intent, you can, on some ways you could see that it's a flagrant violation or whatever of flopping, and they tried to legislate it out that way. And some ways you just can't. It's all subjective in this way, right? It is really hard to police sort of things like this.
Yeah. But it's also there's been a couple of teams. I think Toronto's done this. I think Utah's done this. Apologies if I have impugned anybody or if I have missed anybody that I should have impugned. But there are teams now that are clearly in the lottery chase where they're playing their best guys, and then middle of the third quarter, fourth quarter comes along, and suddenly it's a G League team on the floor. And there's a lot of stuff like that happening right now, and it's not great. And the league isn't thrilled to see it. But the NBA at the league level, at the Olympic Tower level, they can't tell the Raptors who to play or the Jazz who to play. And if they're not holding guys, the Jazz got fined for not playing Lauri Markkanen because he wasn't legitimately hurt. They were just resting him. But you also can't say play him 38 minutes or make sure he plays the fourth quarter of a tight game. There are limits here to what the league can do.
Must be 21 years and older and present in select states. For Kansas, an affiliation with Kansas Star Casino, or 18 plus and present in D.C. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER or visit rghelp.com. Call 1-888-789-7777 or visit ccpg.org/chat in Connecticut or visit mdgamblinghelp.org in Maryland. Hope is here. Visit gamblinghelpline.org or call 1-800-327-5050 for 24/7 support in Massachusetts or call 1-877-8-HOPE-NY or text HOPE-NY in New York. Let's go to a little segment we like to call Ruin of the Week. Howard has been really stressing over this, guys, and I'm trying to tell him it's not that serious. I asked him, "Do you have your Ruin of the Week?" He was like, "I don't know because I got to make it perfect."
Oh, now we're doing impressions of me.
I need to make it perfect.
That was slightly less insulting than your impression of Marcus Thompson,
which is wild because if Marcus hears this, he's going to know that that was an accurate representation of what his accent is. Yours wasn't. I did some sort of like Luck of the Irish type thing. I don't know. Oh my God, I am so. I don't know what that was. And you're more offended by the accurate Marcus Thompson one, which is wild.
I'm way more offended on Marcus's behalf than mine.
Why? He knows it's true.
Because he's not even here to defend himself, and it sounded like absolutely fucking ridiculous. Besides.
Wow. See, now you're gassing it. It wasn't even that. It was more of an homage, and now you're making it.
It was an homage.
It's more of an homage. Jeez.
Really
stoked, man. Oh, throwing up the hundreds.
Oh my God! All right,
you know.
You demanded a real one of the week. I give you Bronny James.
Wow.
Listen. I think actually not, because early in the season when you were out on paternity leave, and Raj and I would like briefly touch on this, and then I would always make it clear then, and maybe you and I've had this discussion. Like, I just don't, the Bronny James discourse and the LeBron and Bronny discourse and all the other discourse around the discourse has been driving me nuts all season, and I've tried to stay away from it because like just let the kid have his career. I understand why people fixate on him, his dad, everything, but like just let him have the space and the oxygen to grow and develop into whatever he's going to develop into. I don't care about all the rest of it and the politics of it. So all that said, real one of the week, Bronny James, because kid just had the best night of his young career. 30 minutes last night coming off the bench against the Bucks. 17 points, 7 for 10 from the field, made 2 of his 4 threes. 5 assists, 3 rebounds. Like, he's a minus 36, but listen, let's focus on the positive right now. Rough night for the Lakers without Luka, without LeBron, but great night for Bronny James. Like, I don't care, even if it's a more or less meaningless late March game. What you do in those minutes matters, and making progress matters. And I don't know what his career will look like ultimately. And again, I'm not one who's fixated on that, but I think it's a great night for him. So congrats to Bronny James.
I think congrats to Bronny James. He was balling in like the garbage time minutes. Shout out to him. It was fun to watch. Like, it's legitimately a story. Like I said beforehand, I wish he can like kind of have the lights dimmed on him for a little longer, but that's just not the case. Like, you're going to see his highs, you're going to see his lows, and he's going to get stronger from that. So congrats to him. I pump faked it earlier, but I'm going to just give it to the growth specs, man. As a family, dog, 6 Billy is pretty cool. Actually, 7 Billy in your pockets. Hell of an investment after 23 years, Got
bad.
2 titles out of that thing. Had a good run. Set up your family for generations of generations, Shout out to them.
So. I thought your real one of the week was going to be Marcus Thompson, just to make up for him for all the slander.
It wasn't slander.
Mockery.
I stand on that. It was imitation.
God, I hope he hears this. Someone send him the audio, please.
We'll see. We'll see. I wonder what his impression of me is. That would probably be funnier. Hello, I'm Logan Murdock. I don't know. I don't know what it would be. Anyways, that was Friday vibes. We get a little loopy on Fridays. Usually it's me and Raja who are getting loopy, but we brought Howard back into the fold. I hope you didn't lose brain cells doing this this Friday exercise with us.
I think somehow my filing of a story at 2 a.m. might have had an impact on my loopiness today.
Okay, for sure. Well, shout out Howard. It's gonna be me and Howard on Tuesday, which Tuesday pod, which is the Real Ones Mailbag episode. So realonesmailbag@gmail.com, realonesmailbag@gmail.com, realonesmailbag@gmail.com. Me and Howard will be on that one. No Raja on that particular pod. But anyways, shout out to Howard. Shout out to Isaiah. Shout out to Victoria. And we will see you guys on Tuesday. Tap in all this shits. Bye.